So happy Monday to everyone that's hanging out with us for the next 20 minutes or so. My name is Megan Smith. I am a civic engagement consultant with the Community of 70, and I am excited to chat with Barbara Thompson today. There are 3 vacancies on the Philadelphia Municipal Court, and Barbara is one of 4 candidates running for municipal court judge. Hi, Barbara, how are you?
I am fine, thank you. So good to be with you today.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's just get right into it. So I know that you've had like a 34, 35 year career really working on behalf of vulnerable populations across the region. Tell me what brought you here? Why are you running?
Well, I wanted to be a judge my entire life, and I explain why. I grew up in the Mid-Hudson Valley in New York State, and my dad was the town judge there for 49 years, from the moment I was born until he passed. And what he and my mom instilled in us was how important it is to be part of the community and to lead the community in a proper way, and to be good to each other, and to have a heart when dealing with people, and not to be so punitive, but as to be examples of what can be great. So what he did was, or what inspired me was about a year ago, I was at a family wedding, and a gentleman who I knew from high school was there, and he came up to me and he says, me and my sisters, and he says, I got to tell you girls something. We said, well, what's that? And he says, your dad saved my life. We said, why? What did he do? Call you a cab or something? And he says, no. He says, much more important than that. When we graduated from high school, my sisters and I all went off to 4-year schools and we're doing our pre-professional thing. And Jimmy didn't have anybody supporting him. Jimmy was he didn't have any college plans. He didn't have any career plans. He wasn't moving on. He had a couple of jobs, and he said he was finding himself in trouble. And before my dad. And then he said, my dad says to him one time, after one too many times in court, he says, Jimmy, your next stop's Orange County Jail. You're too bright for this. You're too smart to be doing this. You have 2 choices to get your life in order. One is to go to college and go to community college pretty cheaply, and he gave him directions, or he can go into the Army. And so Jimmy says, I'm not going to the Army. So he went to college, and then he got his 4-year degree, and now he's an upper middle class banker down in Maryland or Virginia, I'm not sure. But anyway, it was a good story. And he said, that's how, your dad turned my life around, and he did it for countless other people. And I know that from standing at my dad's funeral with over 500 people coming through and telling story after story. So my parents prepared me really for a life of public service by example. We could do whatever we wanted to do, but it was to be good people. But I went on to college and I got my degree in public policy, and I went and got my law degree. And during that time, I've always worked in public policy. I've worked my way through MTA, New York City Transit, to the executive level, and then down here in Philly for the past 20 years. My husband's job brought us down here, and I've remained involved. And I've had clients like the city of Philadelphia, SEPTA. I've even broadened out, though, to like Washington, D.C. I have some national clients and LA Metro. But my heart's really here in the city. And I've always wanted to be a municipal court judge because I see what the impact is on everybody's lives, and the way if somebody hears somebody and talks to somebody and treats them with respect and dignity, it can help people out, because not everybody who goes through criminal court or municipal court understands the huge impact it has on their lives. And often people understand it before it's too late. But an arrest can turn into something on your record for your entire life, and was going to change the way you get a job. It's going to change the way you're approached. It's going to affect all the options you have for the rest of your life. Same with landlord-tenant cases, and the same with small claims cases. People think, oh, it's only $12,000. Well, $12,000 is a lot of money. Yeah. And people go into civil court without representation. It's supposed to be navigable by the regular person. But if you're going up against an attorney, that judgment you're getting may seem good on that day, but it may not be a good judgment for you. So I'm worried about that. And that concerns me. And I think that the heart of our city really depends on having good municipal court judges.
Got it. I think that over the last year, I think what COVID has also done is kind of amplified, the role that judges play, particularly when we're talking about landlord-tenant cases and a variety of issues. I think that it's done, for better or worse, it's done a job of really highlighting the role that judges play in those decisions.
Yes. And people, I don't think, are aware of it.
Yeah.
And I think also there are options people have when they go into landlord-tenant court, that they may make a deal on the side with the mediators that may not be in their interest, because they make this deal thinking it's going to buy them a little time, but it ends up being an eviction judgment, an eviction notice in 60 or 90 days, and then they're out on the street.
Yeah.
And I'm actually, I've done a lot of work with the Hub of Hope, establishing that in Center City. It's a day, I'm going to plug in for Hub of Hope, which is a day services program for homeless people, where they can come in, get services if they want, if they're looking for homes, or they also get a shower, they can wash their clothes, they get something to eat, and they have medical services there.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is, people, I believe, are going to become homeless after this moratorium is over. And people don't understand what kind of homelessness we may necessarily see.
Yeah.
And when the evictions start happening again, and it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And I think that having somebody in court, in landlord-tenant court, who understands that there's got to be some public policy involved, let alone judgments made, is a huge benefit, because I've implemented and instituted public policy my entire career. And I think that as we go into as you said, the impact that courts have on people from day to day, I think that we really need somebody with that sort of expertise and knowledge. So it's not just a single judgment, rather it's dealing with our public at large and what's best for our city and what's best for the person. And what's best for the person is often best for the city.
Absolutely. And that's a good segue into the next question that I was going to ask you, which is, what do you feel that you bring to the role? And I want to just kind of build on what you just said, that policy expertise. So let's continue to talk about that too, like why that, expound a little bit more on like why that's important, but then also if there's other experiences or other background things that you feel are kind of set you apart from the other candidates that you would bring to the bench. Let's talk about that too.
Okay, well, let's start out with the concrete, with some of the public policy programs I've worked on. I mentioned the Hub of Hope, which I'm very proud of. Another one that I instituted was the Philadelphia Municipal City ID card. And what that is, it's a low-cost option identification card, photo identification card for somebody typically without a state ID. So it gives them their first identification card, and it gives them access. It gives them access to government buildings. It gives them access to schools where their children may be. Also gives students access. They can still be a student and get this card. But most importantly, it's for the adults who don't have them. And so they can, and it's also used as a library card. So that's another access point. People can improve their reading. They can take out books. They can go to a library with this card. So we had, maybe 40,000 people get it the first year. So that's what the public policy is that Mayor Kenny had decided that, and City Council, that there are many people without identification cards in the city, and they need to be seen, and they need to have this so that they can access jobs, services, transportation, all the various things that they didn't have access to without it. And now that they have it, they can do things that they weren't doing otherwise and improve their lives and do their daily tasks without a hassle and be respected for it. In fact, I've been spending a lot of time over at the Pennsylvania Convention Center. That's where I've been doing a lot of campaigning. And I've seen people actually go in to get their COVID shot with their city ID card. Touched. I was absolutely touched, because that gave them the access for their COVID shot. And I was tickled, absolutely. I was tickled pink to know that I had something to do with that, and they were getting their shots and they were going to be immunized because of it.
Yeah, it connects to so many different things. It's more than just an ID. To your point, it's the access that it comes with. We don't consider like the health part and the economic part. There's so many other things that it touches. It doesn't exist on its own in its own silo. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So we also had a woman who came in straight from jail who didn't have any ID card. She
Mhm.
didn't have an ID of any sort, and she wanted to make sure she was going to get the benefits she needed as
Yeah,
she left jail so that she wouldn't go back.
yeah,
And this card gave her access to programs she wouldn't have had, she believed she wouldn't have had otherwise.
mm,
And then we talk about public policy too, with the Hub of Hope, establishing the Hub of Hope. When the
yeah,
city did that, that was a city program as well,
yeah.
in cooperation with SEPTA and with Project Home.
Hmm.
But what that did is I met a couple of people out in front of City Hall, these two women, as I'm wont to do right now. And I said, I had worked on Hub of Hope, and they said, "Oh, I love that program." That program, the other woman says, that program helped save me. She
Yeah,
says, that's, I was homeless, I was able to get housing from them, and now all my doctors are there, and now I feel she felt great, and she was so happy she almost kissed me. And I feel terrific. And like I said earlier, what's good for the person is good for the city.
yes.
And so that was one of the big benefits of policy on individuals and how that gets into the court system. That,
Mhm.
that we laws are based on policies,
Yeah.
what's right, what's wrong, what's fair, what's not fair, and what's reasonable. So that's why I believe that's the next step. That's the next step for me.
So I've seen, I spent some time on your Facebook page this weekend.
Thank
I
you.
saw that you've been out there on the campaign trail. I saw you playing basketball one
I,
day. I know you threw out the first pitch at over in Tioga.
yeah,
I always mispronounce it.
Tioga, Tioga. I'll let you know,
Tioga.
Tioga.
I apologize. I'm a DC native. I've been in Philadelphia for a while, but I still mess up some of the neighborhoods.
I'm the same way.
So we won't hold it against you, at least I
Thank
will.
you.
But I see that you've been out there and you're connecting and talking to voters. Tell me, like, what are they saying? What are they asking? What are they talking to you about? What's kind of been sticking with you?
I have gotten the gamut. I have
Mm,
gotten the gamut because one of the things people like about me, and this is a very basic thing, is the woman will say to me, "I like you because you're a mom and you'll watch out for my
mm,
kids,"
mm-hmm,
which I will, because I believe as a mother and a parent and so forth, I really watch out for people.
mm-hmm,
What would I want my child to? What would I want my child to be to happen to them? What would be fair? And they say, "Look, I'm not looking for favors. I just want them to be treated fairly."
mm,
And then I have kids whose parents who say, or other people who are saying, "What about racism?
mm-hmm.
You're a white woman. What do you know about racism?" And I said, I am white. and, and I say, but I do understand that this is a racist city. It's a racist in that there's been years and years of racism in this country. And I don't know if people are necessarily given a fair shake because of the color of their skin. And I think there's and what that means is that people aren't given the same education. They're not given the same access to jobs. They haven't been able to get mortgages. There aren't the assets that other people have. And as a judge, those are the things that people are talking to me about on the street. They're asking me very directly, what do you know from us, is what people will say.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then we get into the discussion on that. And I also, people are asking me, do you believe in cash bail?
Mm,
And fair question. And so I say, I do. I don't, but I do believe in it when there's a flight risk and or somebody is a danger to himself and or his community. I
mm-hmm.
think that's very serious. What do I think about reform programs? What do I think about? Do I believe in being punitive or do I believe in programs? I believe in programs for people. For example, I sat on the board of Self-Help, which is an addiction treatment center up in the Northeast. It's helped lots and lots of people
Yeah,
get through their problems instead of going to jail.
yeah.
And I think that's a much better way to handle something. Get to the root of it, get through the addiction issue, get them into that 12-step program and move on. And it doesn't have to be a facility. It can be 12-step. And, people will sign forms to come through that. And so another thing that people I've gotten in touch with have been talking to me about, and it's something that's really hitting me hard, is people's lack of education. And as I go around, and this is something I saw throughout my career, is that not everybody can read. Reading is a big issue here and everywhere. People can fake it till they make it, but if they can't read, they can't get ahead. So that is something I would like to especially bring to the court system, some sort of education value, because I've learned the tricks of being able to tell when somebody's can't read and when they can. And once you're on to it, you learn it. And I don't want to embarrass anybody, but there are a lot more people out there who cannot read than we know of. And that's something that's really hit my heart. And I've continued to see that. And that's been a lifelong concern for me. But I have seen it out there on the campaign trail. And then how are you going to reform crime? It's like, well,
yeah.
I'd love to do it all. That's another issue where we have to get into public policy again.
Yeah.
100%. And so with the public policy, crime happens, once the gun is fired, it's over. But that's a problem. And I think that we need programs that that take care, that consider that before it happens. And where I see that happening is in schools and in education and in youth centers and places. I would love people to join the Tioga Baseball League instead of selling on the street. Instead of doing whatever it is they need to sell and get by as a teenager on the street.
Yeah.
I really, that breaks my heart, because that means it's going to be a very short life.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be realistic, but, and people at that age, when they're in their teenagers, they all join something, and I'd like them to join something healthy, whether it be that or my church, St. Martin's Choir. We're looking for choristers. So, these are programs, and I think that as long as they join a healthy program, it's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to necessarily be a family-based program, as long as it's a healthy program that doesn't shorten their lives.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Barbara, thank you. It looks like we ran out of time, but
I've been on my soapbox. Excuse me.
No, but this is the whole point of it. This is the whole point. You're supposed to share your message. I thank you for making time today to chat.
I'm very grateful.
And chat with the folks on Committee of 70's Facebook page. Where can folks learn more about you? Where can they follow you? Where can they just connect with you directly?
Well, they can pretty much find me on the street over at Clark Park playing a little basketball now. And Tioga United Baseball on Sunday afternoon, my new passions. But so otherwise, I'm btjudge.com. Those are my initials, btjudge.com. And I have a Facebook page, Barbara Thompson for Judge. And I'm also on Instagram, but it's the next generation that knows how to get me there. The best way is Facebook. I apologize. I think that's BT for Judge on Instagram. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you everyone for joining us. Everyone have a great rest of your Monday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barbara.
Bye.